All right. A very warm welcome to everyone to another episode of Techcanvass interview series, where we are going to bring you professionals from all across the globe who are going to share their journey. They are going to inspire you with their success stories. My name is Harsh Shaira, and today I have with me Neha Aditya Vikram, who is a professional Scrum Master, a professional product owner. She's also certified PMI ECP, and she's currently working with Boeing Bangalore location. All right, so let's start with the first question, Neha. Tell me about your background prior to becoming a Scrum Master. How did you join? Where have you been all these years? How was it for you?
Okay, so first of all, hi everyone, and Harsh, thanks for having me here. So prior to becoming a Scrum Master, well, I started my professional journey as a QA engineer. I was a test engineer, and my role was to do manual testing of the applications. So subsequently, as my years of experience, increased, I moved from a QA engineer to a team lead to a test manager, and then subsequently, it was a natural transition for me to go towards the management positions. And since all the organizations were moving towards agile, I thought the Scrum Master role sounded very lucrative to me, and I wanted to understand more of it. So, from the QA engineer background, I transitioned towards a Scrum Master role.
Wonderful. So how I'm guessing it's just a crazy guess that I'm making. You're a BTech BE, something like that.
Yes, yes, I've done my
Okay.
bachelor's of
Right
engineering
after
in
that, okay. So how much tenure have you spent as a QA person?
a long time. I think a very long time, approximately 10 years.
Okay, wonderful. And then
Yeah.
what happened? Why did you decide to become a Scrum Master? You might have done some kind of research. I think it's a hot cake these days. Scrum, in last 10 years, I've myself seen that it has become a very a kind of a hot cake, a burning uh, career objective that people look forward to. What was your motivation for that?
Well, to be very honest, I've been a part of the agile teams, and as a participant, I would always wonder, why am I here? Or why are they doing the sprints? What is happening in estimation? They're just doing something called as planning poker. Somebody will pick three, somebody will pick five. So nobody had given that kind of mentoring to me as to what are we doing and why are we doing what we are doing. So there was a big gap in my understanding, and my mindset was not purely agile, so as to say. So it was not, to be honest, it was not a planned transition. It just happened, and it was just that I did my PSM one before I moved towards the Scrum Master role. So that change of mindset, so as to say, it happened in a way that I was equipped with the knowledge that was needed for me to do my job in a better way. And so, I mean, I'll just take a step back to answer to your question. It was not a sudden, it was not a planned shift. It was a sudden shift that just happened. But I was just equipped with the right set of knowledge to do my job better, and it helped me a lot. Does that
Okay,
answer
and
your
I'm
question,
sure,
Harsh?
yes, absolutely. But then going back to it again, you might have done some kind of research. You would have looked at the market, how the requirements are these days, specifically for all those people who are looking for uh, establishing themselves as Scrum Master. What kind of research did you do when you were preparing for the PSM certification?
Well, to be honest, when I was started with my PSM journey, I was not sure what is the right certification for me. So, it's just that when you're totally unaware of the next role, you have to spend some time understanding what's the right dart you have to hit in your journey and get there. So I heard about, certified Scrum Master CSM, and then I heard about PSM, and I was just trying to understand what is more about PSM, and I started going through the website to gain more understanding, and I came across the Scrum Guide, which I tried to read. But then luckily in my organization, there was, a training session that was being held for PSM1 aspirants. And I thought that it was a changing point for me in my career, because when you have like-minded people who are passionate about understanding something, they come together to learn and gain experience or gain better understanding of what Scrum is all about. There's a discussion that happens. It helps you a lot. It sets the roots, it sets the foundation of what Scrum is all about. So for me, the initial research on the scrum.org website, and then finding like-minded people, undergoing the training, that helped me a lot to establish myself and get a better understanding.
Uh, so, Neha, through your journey, I mean, once you were done with through with your preparation, did you see that as one stepping stone towards, getting fetching a better job probably in future? Was that your goal?
Absolutely. So that was not the goal. I was not even thinking about it. I wanted to put my theoretical knowledge into, practical experience. My first step was to that, okay, I am PSM1 certified. Now what next? So for me, what next was, I know what is I mean, I'll just give you an example that we learn about three pillars of Scrum: transparency, adaptation, and, inspection. But do you know about these when you're doing a job of a scrum master without being certified? No. So what I wanted to do, that I wanted to I was equipped with this knowledge and I wanted to put it to use, and I got a wonderful opportunity to work in a development project wherein, first of all, I had to change my own mindset, because as a participant you think in a different light. When you are the scrum master, you have to think about facilitation, you have to think about conflict resolution, you have to think about the principles in back of the mind. You have to think about the ceremonies or scrum events which you're facilitating. There are so many things. So I just wanted to ensure that whatever learning I had gained from my PSM1, I put it to use. And that gave me a different view, that, okay, this is PSM1. Yes, this is the first step, but there is so much more in that journey that you can go on learning. And that was a very big stepping stone. It gave me the confidence that I needed to do my job better. It helped me to break that ice of the certifications. And I knew after I did my PSM1 that, okay, fine, nothing is impossible. What next? And that is how then I moved towards my PSM2, which is an advanced certification. It gives you even more better view of what Scrum is all about. So that was all about my journey. My goal was to put it to practical use, and subsequently, yes, it helped me to gain a better job. Definitely it did.
So, Neha, thanks for that. I think I can easily relate to it because I've been through that entire, I have had a similar kind of experience. You were talking about the mental shift that we have from the traditional project management to Scrum, right? So, did you see any challenges? Because I know for sure that when you have gone through the Scrum Guide so many times, when you have cleared a certification like PSM or PSM2, I know because I've gone through your profile, you're a PSM2 certified as well, right? Uh, do you see that it's actually a challenge in the industry right now, right? This is what we are dealing with. The current generation is dealing with, right? Do you see it as a challenge? And did you what kind of challenges have you gone through when you did your PSM1 or PSM2, and later on that try to implement it in your professional sphere? How was that?
It's a very great question, Harsh, and I think it's a question that every Scrum Master relates to. So the biggest challenge is here, first of all, like I said, I was a participant I played a role of a developer in my Scrum team. So from first of all, I had to change my own mindset. The traditional project managers, what would they do if there are two people in the team who are having a conflict? The first instinct is to jump in between and start negotiating.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
And as a Scrum Master, even you are equipped with the knowledge, that I have to trust my team. I have to let them figure it out. Only if it escalates to a very high level, I need to intervene. But otherwise, I will let my team resolve their conflicts on their own. And that is just, on the conflict resolution. You have to constantly coach your team and make them understand the importance of Scrum. Why is that we are doing the estimation of the user stories? What is planning poker all about? Why are we meeting for a retrospective? So for me, because I lacked that understanding as a participant on Scrum teams. When I became the Scrum Master, the first thing did was to have these coaching and mentoring sessions for my team so that they understood the importance of these Scrum events. So I made it a point that they knew that retrospective is an event where we are inspecting how our sprint went with respect to the interactions or collaboration or the work or the challenges, so to bring about the transparency. So I had coaching sessions for my team so that they understood the importance of what we are doing and why we are doing it. So that change is also, you can't expect it to happen overnight. You have to showcase the team that, see, this is the value add we are getting. you know so most of the times people don't even understand what is incremental value delivery. Even I did not know that as a participant. So as a scrum master, these are the challenges that we face on a day to day basis, and how, with the coaching stance, we overcome those challenges and help our team understand what is incremental value delivery all about.
Wonderful. Great. Neha, so I think looking at your preparation versus implementing all those things that you have learned over during your theoretical sessions, you have implemented, tried and implemented. You have also seen, you also talked about the challenges. Uh, for the benefit of our users, of our viewers, uh, can you can you just walk us through how was the preparation all about? What are the courses that you took, the study material? I know Scrum Guide is one of those. The practice test, mock questions. What have you gone through to achieve that certification, the PSM certification particularly?
Okay, so are you talking about PSM1, Harsh, to be specific?
Yeah, because you are PSM1 certified, right? You didn't appear for CSM, correct?
Not CSM, no.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah. So, how was your journey? The preparation journey, that's what I'm really interested in knowing.
Okay, so the first thing that I did was, like anybody else, download the Scrum Guide and start reading through it. And again, so initially it's a bit challenging because you're reading though it's 16 pages, but it has so much information in it that you have to read it again and again and again. And even after probably reading it, I think I might have read it more than 200 times by now. Even now, if I go back and read it fresh again, I'm sure I would find a different meaning to a single line. So first thing I did was to download the Scrum Guide and go through it. And like I said, I went through the Scrum Guide a couple of times, but in my case, there was a training that was being held in my organization, which I'm glad that I did. Because see, there are people who can do it on their own, but when you're, having this discuss or debacle with like-minded people who want to pursue a journey, it makes your journey even more enriching, and you get to understand the different perspectives people have about Scrum, or different perspective people have about, for example, inspection. So that is such an enriching journey, and you learn a lot. So for me, that was the journey that I took. I went through the Scrum Guide, then I went through the training, then I did some couple of mock questions that I found on Udemy, and obviously, there on scrum.org also we have some open assessments as well. So those all helped me a lot to crack my PSM1 in one go.
Wonderful. Uh, So Neha, because I'm also PSM1 certified, I just want to understand because I've gone through this thing and I just want to see what others feel about it. Okay. So when I got to know about PSM1 certification, I heard that you have to in 60 minutes, 1 hour, you have to attempt 80 questions and your passing score should be 85%. Because it itself places a kind of fear in you, right? It's very natural amongst people, and especially amongst IT students because we haven't studied after our engineering
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
courses, right? So how did you counter that?
Practice, 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 practice. I practice a lot, and every time. So my way of reading the Scrum Guide was, one time I'll start from the beginning to end, and by when you are around 8 or 9 pages, you start losing interest, and I didn't want to do that. So what I did, one time I'll start the Scrum Guide from front to back, and the next time I'll start it backwards, back to front, and I'll make sure I do that every time, the toggling, so that I was well versed with the concept towards the end, and I was well versed with the concepts in the beginning. And then I would attempt mocks. I would see what questions I got wrong, and I'll try and go back to the Scrum Guide to understand what did I miss there. Was there any specific concept that I was not clear with? And I spent some time, going through Scrum.org blogs to understand, to enhance my understanding, so as to say, on a particular concept. And then the mocks, of course, they help a lot. You see that there is a clock ticking, and the more mocks you give, the more comfortable you become with the, that setting of the timer being there and the number of questions. I got to the point, I believe I did my PSM one within 20 minutes or so. I did not, so it's not impossible. It's just that practice makes you perfect, and it's, you can do it too.
Absolutely. Yep. Wonderful. During your journey, I'm sure you would have gone through challenges. What kind of challenges were they? And I'm very particular about this question because not just with PSM, but with other certifications that I've done, I've gone through a lot of focus issues. Right? I used to get easily distracted. Have you gone through things like that? And if yes, then how do you counter that? How do you come over that?
Yes. I think there is no journey that does not come with hiccups. So yeah, absolutely there were hiccups. But so what did PSM1 teach me the most? My key learning has been time boxing, Harsh. So I first of all, my what I do is to decide on my next goal. That PSM, for example, PSM1 done. I want to target PSM2. So I'll just go through the content once to understand that what is the content that I need to go through. And then I come up with a time box. For me, that time box helps me keep focused. I'm focused towards it, that 30 days or 2 weeks is the timeline that I'm going to spend. And I ensure that I follow that time box very strictly. And that time boxing has helped me always. I think I've done 8 certifications till now after my PSM 1 or 7 maybe, but that time boxing has always helped me to achieve my goals.
Great. Cool. Uh, uh, Quick question. Is Scrum Guide enough for preparing for PSM1? We are targeting this for PSM1 audiences. Uh, do you think Scrum Guide, just reading those, I know it's 14 pages long, right? But then you can remove the first page, which is preface. You can remove the last 2 pages. Do you think that those 12 pages is enough to go through when you are preparing for PSM1 exam? Or do you need any kind of supplement for that?
I think mock questions play a very crucial role because that is where you test your knowledge. For example, I'll give you an example. There might be a question. I've not tested Scrum Guide in a long time, Harsh, so I might be wrong, and please feel free to correct me. So, there is a question from PSM1 in which it says that which meeting, or sorry, I confuse between scaled agile and Scrum a lot.
Event, you can
Pardon
call
me.
it event. Yeah.
Pardon me. Yeah. So, which event, the stakeholders can attend? So unless so reading is one part of it, but validating your knowledge is what you need to do. So Scrum Guide is one thing, but if you don't, and I think even after you read the Scrum Guide, the first time this question comes to you on your screen, most of people will get it wrong. You have to read it again to understand that, okay, the sprint planning is an event where the external stakeholders might be invited so that they can clarify the questions if
Absolutely.
team needs a better understanding. So this is just one minute example that comes to my mind right now. So definitely you need to validate your knowledge and do some mock questions. And if you have a study group around you, if you have people around you who can engage in a debacle around these such questions, because sometimes we don't see eye to eye. We see that, okay, no, this, I'm thinking one, it should be one, but it need not be the case. It can be two also. So somebody, if he's, that person is there to debate with you or discuss with you, it helps you get a better understanding.
Right. Absolutely. Uh, Neha, at what point of time, because now that you have shared that you have prepared very well for it, you have gone through your Scrum Guide a couple of times. In fact, I remember the number 200, right? Uh, at what point of time did you realize that you are actually prepared for that exam? It's something that you have to take, a call, where you have to take a call, right? And it's a risky call for people like us, right? At what point of time and what? what was that thing in you that made you realize that now is the time to go for it? What was it?
Well, I'll give you an example of PSM2 here, Harsh, because that is more challenging. I mean, I consider it most challenging because you have scenarios there. So I've gone through the Scrum Guide, I've done the mocks, and I was not getting that confidence that okay, I'm ready. I was not, and it was honestly frustrating me because I was nearing my time box expiry, and I was like, what if that is stopping me? I was giving the same mocks repeatedly, getting similar score. I was just not having that confidence. So in my case, I just sat down one day and then I thought, okay, these are the mocks that I have done. These are the consistent scores that I'm giving. And that is when I decided, I think I'm ready. What's to lose? Just try it out. So in my case, it's just that you need to check for your level of readiness. For me, I was ready, but I was still facing that fear of, appearing for the certification. So I just took that call that I have to validate now. I have to do it. I have validated on mocks, why not on certification? So yeah, I just went ahead, put myself in D&D and gave it.
So that fear, that emotion that we have, which we call as fear of failure in the exam, that is all there in the mind. Even though you are well prepared, right? You have done all the mocks, you have prepared very well, you have read you have gone through the entire Scrum guide multiple times back to back, right? So that is something where your psychological side of your nature plays a role, right? So I think would you want to say more on that? That this is one thing that we need to, as an aspirant towards a certification, uh, we need to probably target that also. People usually don't talk about these kind of things, right? Because they sound
I
more
think it's
philosophical in nature.
it's more about trusting yourself, trusting your instinct. Your instinct will tell you when you're ready. So, for example, when I was appearing for my PMI ACP, I had done everything that I could, but I was still facing this fear. And to be honest, while clicking on that submit button as well, I was so nervous that I was like, I don't know which way this is going to swing, whether I'm gonna pass it or fail it. But when I saw the results and I saw that there is an above average in all the domains, it made me realize that we have, as humans, a tendency to be so fearful, but we don't trust our instincts. We have to listen to our instincts that yes, we are ready and we can do it. And that's what. So PSM1 was the icebreaker for me, and that is when I realized nothing is impossible. You clear one certification, look on to the next. It's a journey, it's a never ending journey. There's constant learning that we do on every other day. It might not come from this certification, but we need to learn to trust our instincts and know that yes, I have done everything that I could. I am prepared. I have done the mocks. I have gone through the Scrum guide. Let me just go ahead and validate my knowledge. And boom, you will be successful. I mean, if you're well prepared, then you have to listen to your instincts and just go and do it.
Great. I can relate to it. Going back, I've had my own challenges with different other certifications that relates to BA and Scrum itself. Uh, I've had similar kind of experience, and I think this is something which is very common across the industry. Not even industry, I would say that it's all common across humans, right? That's the psyche that we have, everybody has, and I think this is something that we need to learn to deal with, how to deal with these kind of things, right? We talk about content, we talk about subjects, but we don't talk about how to deal with those emotions and those, fear of failure and
Yeah.
when we are getting into a state of boredom or these kind of things, we are getting distracted or losing focus, those kind of things. So I think that's more important, at least from my perspective. I may be having a different perspective altogether. That's absolutely fine. Uh, Fine. So Neha, I'm sure that after your certification, not just PSM1, but then you have gone through PSM2 also and then PMI ACP also. After going through your profile, that's what I've realized. Uh, how's your typical day as a Scrum Master in your current organization? Probably you can also talk about your previous organization. That's absolutely fine.
So my typical day, starts with the daily Scrum, and yes, as per Scrum Guide, the Scrum Master should not be attending, and there are some deviations from the Scrum Guide as well. This is one of them, and yeah, so my typical day starts with the Scrum call, and then where we get to understand where the team stands, what are their challenges, if they're facing any roadblocks, and just help them navigate through those challenges, see if they need any help, and it's all about incremental value delivery. It's such a fast-paced environment that we need to know where we stand. If there is any, cross-team support that we need, are there any dependencies? If we have the transparency, if we're using Jira or ADO, wherever, is there the transparency maintained? If there are, information that if there is any facilitation needed between the product owners and the team, apart from the scheduled calls, if they need any help. So that is where I come into picture. And yeah, that's what my typical day goes like. And I interact with other scrum masters, I interact with product owners, and I interact with my teams throughout the day to understand if they're facing any challenges and if they need any help and support. So most of the times the teams are so cross functional that they are able to navigate through the challenges and get to the point or get to the work on their own, but sometimes they do need support, they need the cross team collaboration. So that's when I come into picture, Harsh.
So at any point of time during the working hours or during your professional within your professional sphere, do you realize that you need to go back and check out uh, Scrum Guide or concepts, those core concepts from Scrum? I'm specifically talking about the core values that we have in Scrum, right? Do you think and do you relate to it when you are having your actual experience in
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the pillars of Scrum is what drives my behavior as a Scrum Master. I know what is the importance of inspection, and that is what I told you earlier, that we have to. It's not just for the Scrum Masters; it's for the entire team. We need to educate or coach them on what is inspection. Of course, we are certified professionals, but our teams are not. They are not certified. They don't know what inspection is all about, what adaptation is all about, or the stand up is a place where we are meeting for inspection. So that is where we have to constantly engage with the teams and make them understand those jargons or technical terminologies and move in the right direction. So I do go back to Scrum Guide sometimes to understand and revise what I understand, and definitely I pass it on to my team so that I don't want team to think that daily Scrum once again. I don't want to do it. Why am I doing a daily Scrum? Or sprint review. What is the point of sprint review? We've already talked to the product owner. The product owner is happy with the user story. So why are we meeting for a sprint review, right? So I don't want my team to be disengaged from the Scrum events, and that is why I go back to the Scrum Guide and I try and coach them on the same.
Great. Uh, Neha, last two questions. Do you see any difference between folks who have done, kind of certification on Scrum, or whether they have read about Scrum very well, they have got good knowledge about Scrum, versus those who just say that, experience is what matters in the industry, right? So, what's your take on that? Certification versus experience. I know both of them are important. What's your take on that?
I am pro certification, Harsh. For me, personally, I've seen how well it has helped me do my job better. And there is a reason there are these certifications in place. They equip you with the knowledge that is needed to do your job better, to help towards incremental value delivery, to help generate outcome, not just the output of it, to help your team stay motivated. So, if I've seen that. So, I've seen the difference between a certified scrum master and a person who's not certified, he might still be doing his job better. So like I gave an example earlier, right? So if there is a conflict, a certified scrum master would know that I don't have to jump and solve every problem that my team is
Absolutely.
facing,
Correct.
right?
Right.
And a person who's not certified would have this tendency to just jump in and resolve every problem the team is facing. If a person is jumping every time there is a problem arising, that the team would not learn, they would not grow. So we are stopping their learning path. We need to trust them to do their job better. So that is where I believe there is a very big difference, and certifications definitely help a lot, a lot.
Okay. Great. Great, Neha. Before I ask my last question, just before that, I also want to know because you have done plenty of certifications, already talked about it. Uh, have you inspired anybody? I mean, this is the first time that we are taking you on a uh, on a video call. But before that, is there anybody who kind of has seeked your expertise or the way you have done it? Uh, any help from you, and how did it go in the
Yeah, I
past?
mean, it has. I think I've kind of given back to people whatever I have learned, and there are people who have approached me in my previous organization or over LinkedIn to understand, what was my journey all about, or how can I help them to, give them the guidance. Of course, they are the ones who have to read the Scrum Guide, but what is that I did? So I have helped a lot of people on different certifications, and it made me very happy to see, them achieving their own goals. So yeah, it's about the journey. And if you look at my journey, I've done a couple of certifications one after the other. I was working, I was learning on a very fast-paced journey. I was on a very fast-paced journey. So that motivated the people that she's done so many certifications in such a short span of time. So yeah, I do get people to reach out to me. People reach out and they ask, and I try to do my best, Harsh.
Good. Thanks, Neha. I think that really gives me a hope because at one point of time in your career you have to give back to the society where
Yes,
you're going to give back to
absolutely.
the people. And last question for you, Neha. Now that you have achieved your goal, I mean your primary goals have been achieved. You're very well placed. What are your top advices, suggestions? You can just limit it to three to all the aspirants who are preparing for, who want to get into Scrum or who are preparing for PSM 1 certification or PSM 2 certification for that matter. Feel free to answer that.
Well, I believe, first of all, that don't take any shortcuts. Give time to your learning. Doing mocks would probably help you gain the certification, but knowledge is an asset. So be thorough with the Scrum Guide. Be thorough with the content which is there for any certification for that matter. And just remember that knowledge is an asset. Let it take time if it does, but be equipped with the right knowledge. That is very important. Second thing is, don't lose focus. Focus is very important. It is one of the Scrum values as well. And the longer you make your horizon, you will tend to lose interest, and you would not probably be, you might even go about dropping the idea of doing the certification altogether. So don't lose focus. Try and time box it. Don't keep an horizon of like, okay, 1 year down the line, I will be PSM1 certified. No, you say that 1 month down the line, I want to be PSM1 certified. Find your path, find your resources, and do it. And trust me, it's not impossible. And third, most importantly, embrace your fear and listen to your instincts. They will tell you when you're ready. So don't lose hope, gather the knowledge. And from personal experience, if you're equipped with your certification or knowledge, it will help you do the job better. So don't think that, I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it. Just think about it from the perspective that it is going to help me doing my job better. And also, yes, the job market, how it is these days, it is very lucrative. And having the right set of certifications on your resume does help you a lot. If you go through the job descriptions, you would see that there is, it's clearly mentioned we need people who are PSM1 certified or PSM2 certified. So it's an ask. So from all perspectives, go do your certifications and don't give up. It's a very good learning journey, so as to say.
Thanks, Neha. Final one, okay? I won't keep you long.
That's
What's the next big thing for you on your plate right now? What's it that you are looking forward to as a goal in your life? Professional goal.
uh, Yeah, that's a tricky one. I mean, that's a tricky one. I am thinking about my PSM3 journey, and I had started it, but again, in between, I got sidetracked with my PMIACP because that is one thing I had already picked. So I need to pick that up and see where it takes me. But Scrum and Agile is an ocean. It's an ocean out there. There is so much content. You have the CSM journey, you have the PSM journey, then you have the scaled Agile framework. So it's it's a never-ending learning experience. So for me, as of now, probably PSM 3, but yeah, let's see how it goes.
Okay, all right, wonderful. You know, a lot of good wishes from the entire Tech Invest team for me. I'm sure that you are going to crack it someday. Uh, and then maybe, that becomes another reason for us to call you back again, right? So, wish you all the best. Neha, thanks for sharing your experience, your journey, your challenges, and how it has been for you in last couple of years, right? Really thankful from the entire Tech Invest team, and hope to see you back someday soon. Yep. So thanks a lot, Neha. Have a good time ahead. God bless you.
Thanks, Harsh. Thanks for having me here. Thanks. Have a good day yourself.